Welcome to the Divorce the IRS Podcast, the retirement income planning podcast designed specifically for those who want to pay the least amount of taxes possible and build a retirement income that lasts. Inspired by the best-selling book, Divorce the IRS, you get to go behind the scenes with financial planner, author, and speaker Jimmy Miller. Learn how to set yourself up to pay the least amount of taxes in retirement when you'll need your money the most. And now, here's your host, Jimmy Miller.
Welcome to episode 10 of the Divorce the IRS podcast. I'm your host, Jimmy Miller, author of the best-selling book, Divorce the IRS, now in its second edition. Over the last 9 episodes of this podcast, we've discussed some basic tax concepts and busted some common myths. And you now have the knowledge to understand the biggest tax time bombs, the ones with the potential to destroy your retirement savings. There are 8 tax time bombs in total, and they can explode at various stages of a person's journey towards or throughout retirement. We will discuss them here in the order they are likely to go off in a person's life, starting with exploding tax rates. First, though, we need to understand that financial planning is always based on 2 sets of assumptions. The first set contains the things that we can control, like how much we save, how we invest our money, and when you retire. However, some factors in life that affect financial planning are completely out of our control, and we can only speculate as to what may happen in those circumstances. Things like the inflation rate, when we might pass away, and what the tax brackets are set to are all things we cannot control. And that brings us to the first tax time bomb, exploding tax rates. Now, one of the circumstances that we have no control over is the tax rates in America. Much has been written about the state of the current U.S. deficit, as well as the problem with Social Security and Medicare. And we don't need to enter into that discussion in this podcast too deeply, except to say that the current government deficit is over $38.5 trillion as of February 2026. It's totally out of control, and both Social Security and Medicare will need a lot of funding help in the future to survive. Now, there are only 2 ways to help with these problems. Cut government spending, which is hard for anyone and seems impossible for the government, and or raise taxes. If you haven't already, I encourage you to take a brief history lesson on tax rates in the United States, which you can find by Googling or on the resource page at divorce-the-irs.com. Most people are amazed to realize that not long ago, in the 1980s, the top marginal tax rate in America was 50%. And in the 1970s, it was 70%. In the 1960s, it was as high as 91%. Today, in 2026, the top marginal bracket is only 37%. Now, it may not feel like it to you, but we currently have historically low tax rates, recently extended and made permanent by President Trump. But low taxes can only last so long when the deficits are piling up. At some point in the future, the only real way for the government to pay for all its programs is going to be to raise tax rates. Now, I'm the first to admit that I don't have a crystal ball, but I think it's fair and fun to guess the future of taxes. And as you listen to this, the government is spending like never before, and the national deficit is ballooning. I think it's a fair assumption that tax rates will likely increase from here. And if that's the case, there is currently an opportunity we may never see again in our lifetimes to utilize Roth strategies and Roth conversions in financial planning. In other words, we have the chance to pay all the taxes possible now at known and historically low rates, so you won't have to pay taxes later at unknown future rates. You see, the way to diffuse this tax time bomb is by paying your taxes now rather than putting them off till later. When I suggest to people that they should pay more taxes now on purpose because we have known and very low tax rates, they usually balk at me. But people rush to take advantage of this concept in another area of financial life we are all familiar with: mortgages. When interest rates drop to new lows, I don't know of a single homeowner who wouldn't like to refinance their home, usually extending their mortgage out another 30 years, to take advantage of known and historically low interest rates. They rush out and they pay all sorts of refinancing fees to lock in that known rate for the next 30 years. This is exactly the same as what I'm suggesting you consider with your tax-deferred money and current savings by utilizing a Roth conversion. Consider it refinancing your IRA. Most of the tax time bombs people are building and holding now will only get worse and create an even bigger negative explosion should tax rates rise from here. Just a 1 or 2% rise in taxes can have a massive compounding effect later in life. If you're saving and getting today's tax bracket deductions just to pay taxes on that same money, plus its growth down the road at higher tax rates, you obviously haven't done yourself any favors. But Uncle Sam and the IRS will love you. Now, I understand why people balk at the idea of paying all possible taxes now instead of delaying the pain. However, you will have to pay those taxes at some point. And by taking advantage of the current historically low rates means you will likely give considerably less to the IRS over your lifetime. It's a wise way to defuse the tax time bomb of skyrocketing tax rates, which are beyond our control. In essence, you can rip the Band-Aid off quickly now or peel it off slowly over your entire retirement, and then 10 years longer after that for your heirs, which is Tax Time Bomb 8, Paying Taxes from the Grave. And that'll be coming up in a future episode. Now, this all leads us to the effects of another early action some people take, which is early withdrawal of their retirement savings. And as we'll discover in the next episode, this is a tax time bomb that carries some serious penalties if done incorrectly.
Want even more ideas, tools, and resources on how to navigate your financial life? Check out all the resources on the Divorce the IRS website at divorce-the-irs.com or the Baobab Wealth website at baobabwealth.com, and subscribe to the blog to stay up to date on issues affecting retirement income planning. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. Baobab Wealth and Baobab Wealth Abroad are DBAs of Baobab Wealth LLC, a Florida-registered investment advisor. This podcast is designed for general education purposes only and shouldn't be taken as legal, investment, or tax advice. You should seek out a qualified tax professional or licensed financial advisor to determine what is best for your personal situation.